So, what happens when a piece of history, a real-deal warship from the Civil War, is found at the bottom of the ocean? You'd probably think it belongs to whoever found it, right? Finders keepers. But as we're about to see with the incredible case of the USS Hatteras, the law has a very different and pretty surprising answer.
Let me just ask you this straight up. If you stumbled upon a shipwreck that's been lost for over 100 years, would it be yours? I mean, that's the dream, isn't it? But when that wreck is a warship, the whole finders keepers idea gets thrown out the window, and things get super tricky and fast. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. A moment of pure discovery out on the open sea.
Picture this. It's the 1980s, and a private salvage crew is working off the coast of Texas. Suddenly, their sonar just lights up. This isn't some random rock formation. No way. It's the clear, unmistakable shape of a ship, a ghost that's been sitting in the dark for over a century.
And almost instantly, a fight kicks off. In one corner, you have the explorers, the salvage company that poured their time and money into finding this thing. And in the other corner, the United States government, swooping in with a shocking claim. That ship, they say, is still ours.
I mean, just look at this timeline for a second. This ship goes down in the heat of battle in 1863. It's completely lost to the world for more than 100 years. Then it's found in the 80s, which sparks a legal battle that takes until 1991 to even hit a courtroom. This is way more than a history lesson. It's a legal drama that spans 3 different centuries. So, to really get what's happening in that courtroom, we've got to rewind. We need to understand the ship itself and its incredible lost history. See, this wasn't just any old wreck. It's identified as the USS Hatteras, a gunboat for the Union Navy. This ship wasn't just a hunk of metal. It was an active player in the Civil War, the conflict that literally tore the United States in two.
And finding it brought this epic rivalry roaring back to life. On one side, you have the Hatteras, a tough, iron-hulled steamship, a workhorse doing the gritty job of blockading the southern coast. And on the other side, its mortal enemy, the CSS Alabama, a sleek, fast, and absolutely feared Confederate raider, built for one thing, hunting ships exactly like the Hatteras. These two were destined to clash.
And that clash finally happened in January 1863. It was a short, brutal firefight. The Alabama's superior guns just overwhelmed the Hatteras. And as it slipped beneath the waves, it wasn't just lost. It became a time capsule, a solemn military grave, waiting to tell its story from the bottom of the ocean.
So how on earth could the US government claim they still owned a wreck this old? Well, the answer is based on this wild and fascinating legal idea. Think of it as an underwater embassy.
And that really is the million-dollar question here, isn't it? How can a government still lay claim to something it lost in a war over 100 years ago? I mean, it feels like it should just belong to history now.
Well, the answer lies in this incredibly powerful legal concept called sovereign immunity. The basic idea is that a nation, its government, and its property are, well, immune. You can't just sue them or take their stuff without their permission. So a warship, even one sitting at the bottom of the sea, is seen as a little piece of that nation's territory. It's like an embassy, just a very, very wet one. So the government's entire case was built on this powerful foundation. They argued 1, a warship is sovereign territory. 2, sinking in the line of duty is the opposite of abandonment. It's the ultimate act of service. 3, the U.S. never signed a piece of paper saying we give up, so they didn't. And 4, the passage of time, it doesn't mean a thing. 100 years, 200 years, their claim is just as strong.
Okay, so with that principle on the table, let's head back to the courtroom for the final verdict in the case that became known as United States v. Steinmetz.
So what the court had to do was weigh 2 ancient laws of the sea against each other. In one corner, you had the discoverers arguing the law of finds, the classic finders-keepers rule. They said, hey, it was abandoned, it's ours. But in the other corner, the government played its trump card, sovereign immunity, arguing that a nation's warship can never be legally considered abandoned, no matter how much time has passed. And the judge's decision? It was absolutely crystal clear. They basically said the U.S. holds on to the title of its sunken warships forever unless it officially gives it up. And that act of giving it up has to be, and I'm quoting here, an express affirmative act. You can't accidentally abandon a warship.
And so that was that. The verdict came down. The court sided with the U.S. government. The USS Hatteras, after more than 120 years on the ocean floor, was officially still U.S. property.
But this decision was about so much more than just one Civil War gunboat. Its impact was massive, because it turns out the U.S. has over 6,000 other sunken government ships scattered all over the world's oceans.
This case became a landmark. It set a huge precedent that now legally protects all of those 6,000 vessels, from WW2 submarines in the Pacific to old frigates from the Revolutionary War. It basically drew a legal line in the sand, securing a nation's ownership over its military history wherever it might be resting.
And that leaves us with this really cool thought, right? The USS Hatteras isn't just a wreck. It's a piece of sovereign American territory, an underwater embassy still on duty. It really makes you wonder, what other ghosts of the past are still out there, silent and unseen, but fully protected by the laws we live with today?